Good morning. My name is PC Bennett, and today I am going to give you an introduction to Acumatica's brand new payroll. What I want to cover is a quick introduction of who I am and the company that I work for, the criteria that we use to create this payroll, and some of the high-level features that we have included in the payroll. In addition to that, we will do a demo, and if you guys are interested in signing up for beta, then we're looking for beta testers. So who is PC Bennett? PC Bennett Solutions was founded in 2002 to serve small and medium-sized businesses. Started with Microsoft Dynamics products, then added CRM, and became an Acumatica partner in 2011. We are one of the first Acumatica Gold Certified partners in 2013. PC Bennett Solutions is an Acumatica bar, but in addition to that, we do partner services. We do software development for Acumatica partners. We do help with implementations, training, assistance with sales and marketing, and independent software. And we also have certain products that we sell independently. Enough of PC Bennett. So let's talk about the payroll. And when we set out to build the payroll for Acumatica, one of the goals was to make it easy enough so people transitioning from QuickBooks would feel comfortable using the product, but at the same time making it so that it would service those bigger customers that we have that have some very specific requirements, especially in the distribution in the general ledger. So you can either make it very simple or you can make the distributions very complicated. It's up to the needs of your customers. This payroll is an Acumatica product. It's an integral part of Acumatica. The goal was to make it easy to use, like I said, and adaptable to other countries eventually. High-level features, the look and feel is the same as Acumatica's. Lots of different earnings types. The benefits and deductions can be set up both at the same time. I mentioned the GL distributions. Employee setup, if you've been using Acumatica for a while and you have your organizational structure and you have set up your employees, then that is the same screen that we start with. You just have to add some additional functionality. Some other options are the ability to create quick checks for employees, or you can do time card entry and bring in directly from the time entry from Acumatica. We also allow to import files that maybe you are collecting time with a different method. Those are the high-level features. Please let us know once you see the product if you're interested in becoming a beta tester. We're, like I said, looking for people to help us test the software. As far as timing, we expect to start the beta in August and to be able to have people implement the software towards the last quarter of 2014 and start using it calendar year 2015. So let's take a look at payroll. First, let me switch here. And hopefully you can see Acumatica now. And as you can see, this is typical Acumatica menu structure, and we just have embedded payroll under organization. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a couple of screens on the setup. First of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about the payroll preferences, and here is where we tell the system which cash account we're going to be using for payroll, if we're doing the direct deposits, where those are coming from. And again, like I mentioned before, if you're coming from an application like QuickBooks and you want to keep it really simple, then if I check this box, use default GL accounts only, then it's very simple. I'm going to expense my gross wages to an account. I'm going to expense my taxes to one account, and it's just going to be very, very simple. If that is not the case and you want to really slice and dice your payroll so that it accommodates the way that you want to record, then you have the option of saying, okay, in this case, my benefits and my deductions are going to come from each code or from the branch. The GL account is going to come from the branch or from the company default or from the department, or there's lots and lots and lots of options, right? Same thing with the sub account. I can say, okay, this particular segment is coming from a specific location, just like in any other functionality in Acumatica. So very, very flexible. Or very simple, depending on what you want. And you do it for the expenses, and you do it as well for the liabilities. Let's talk a little bit about employee classes. Employee classes is the same concept as we have on inventory classes or vendor classes. It's a way of grouping certain employees and defaulting information for that group of employees. And once you set up a new employee, if you enter the class, it will default this information. Some of what we can default is, as you can see, which pay group they belong to, how many hours do they work per year, what kind of PTO are they getting, and so on and so forth. Pay groups, it relates to different groupings of payroll that may be paid at different times, or it may have different set of deductions. For example, in this case, I have two different templates. One is for the 15th of the month that has certain deductions, and then there's the one at the end of the month that has no deductions included. If that makes sense, or something like that makes sense for your organization, this is very, very flexible. We will be using attributes, payroll attributes, to track all the different things that the different states need to track for the purpose of tax calculations. And by the way, the tax engine is an external service that Acumatica has signed up for. So the taxes will always be accurate. It's a call to a tax engine that's sitting somewhere else, and we will be able to calculate every state, every location, every municipality, all those things. The only thing you do need to enter is your own workers' compensation rates, your own state unemployment rates, FUTA rates, the ones that are specific to your organization. Earning type codes. Hopefully you have seen some of these before. They came with Acumatica. We added a few. This is your normal time, and then you specify whether there's taxes calculated on that or not, and if there's specific taxes that are specific to this earnings code, and so on. This is pretty cool, deductions and benefits. Most systems will make you set up deductions and benefits in two separate locations. We have set it up so that you only set it up once, and then you tell it whether it's both a deduction and a benefit, or just the deduction or just the benefit. And then you specify the amounts for each one of those. Deduction sequence, shift codes, job codes in the case of multiple jobs for the same individual. I have an example. One of my clients, they fly helicopters and airplanes, and when the pilot is on the ground, the rate of pay is different than when the pilot is flying. So we use different job codes to track this. Income codes. Income codes are the codes that are associated with a particular pay code. For example, regular time has sick and vacation, and then you would have deduction codes. And so again, it's a way of grouping the earning codes. And we talked about the tax, but enough of the setup. Let's take a look at how would we set up an employee. So hopefully this screen here is going to look very familiar to you if you've been using Acumatica. This is the same screen that you would access through the organization structure and input. Sample data that comes with Acumatica is there. I have created a few other employees just for the purpose of being able to demo the software. So this is the same information that you're familiar with. We have added the payroll settings, which in essence is going to take me to employee payroll settings. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And here I'm going to tell it what is the class ID that I'm going to be using, whether I want to use the default values from that class ID. So for example, that class ID uses this pay group. But if I want to use something different, I just turn that off and change. So we allow the easiness of just use everything that's in the class ID, but also give you the flexibility of changing it if that's what you want. This particular class ID comes with those earning codes. There's my deductions, taxes, jobs, pay time off, and direct deposit information. Very easy setup, all in one screen, just multiple tabs. Once the employee has been set up, then we want to start generating payroll. And how do we do that? We go to payroll batches. And in essence, what we want to do is we want to create a batch. One of the things that we have done is we can say, okay, go ahead and pre-populate with the employee defaults. And this is quick pay, again, for those people that have been using very simple software. This is very easy. Just these are my defaults. These people always have the same PTO. They always have the same number of hours, the same salary. Just go ahead and populate the information and create a batch for me. The other option is the time entry that comes from Acumatica, or we can import time as well from an Excel spreadsheet with the import capabilities of Acumatica. So very, very flexible. I have already created a batch that I'm going to use throughout the demo. So I created a batch. As you can see here, even though I create a batch and I say pre-populate, I can exclude certain employees if I want to. So I have a few employees that I have added and a few employees that I have excluded. Once you have the employees that you want there, if you wanted everybody, we just check here and it will check everybody. Then I'm going to go to Actions and I'm going to say Create Batch. Obviously, we already did that. That would then bring the transaction details for the employees that were selected. Remember, this is all sample data, so it may not make sense as far as payroll, number of hours, or whatever. So here is the transactions that were brought in. Once I have this created, I can actually print the details if I want to. But the next thing would be to process a pay run. And for the sake of the demo, I have already done this. So I'm just going to bring this one here. And this pay run, what we do is we're going to create the pay run. Part of that is we're going to select each batch, the one that we created in the previous screen. This is the batch that we created. So say, okay, use this batch. Which deductions and benefits do I want to include? That will automatically populate, but it gives me the option to uncheck them if there's something different going on. And then once I have everything the way I wanted, then I can calculate payroll. Once I calculate payroll, these are those 3 employees that I chose not to include. So as you can see, they're there, but they don't have any pay code, any gross pay. Once I calculate the checks, then here is the information that was calculated. And at this point, if I need to, I can edit before I print. So let's say, for example, we made a mistake and this person was supposed to make an additional $200 for some reason. I can add that additional code and recalculate the checks. Once they've been calculated and you're happy with the way that they came out, then obviously you're going to print the checks and you're going to release the payroll batch. So very simple, easy, and once it's set up, it should be very fast. Another thing we've done for you is we have created the ability for you guys to take all the liabilities and create the AP bills for those liabilities. That would include your tax liabilities, any child support liabilities, insurance, all the different deductions, benefits. We can go ahead and create those bills. So once we have run payroll and we have released the batch, we have option to look at inquiry screens. So in this case, for example, this inquiry screen is by employee. I can pick one of my employees and say, yeah, this is all the different pay runs that we've done for him. This is the gross pay, the tax, the deductions, net pay. It was a check. It was printed. If I click there, it takes me to the actual document. So let me we have left the last 4 digits of the Social Security number. And this is a copy of the check stub, not the check, but the check stub, because the check was already printed. I can look at employee summary. I can look at the company summary. I have gotten a lot of questions about W-2s and 940s and 941s. We will do all the required government forms. So let's take a look at some of the reports. Obviously, employee lists and new hire reports and batch details, direct deposit advice, reprinting, the ability to reprint both direct deposit advice and check stubs. Period end reports, PTO liability reports, benefit accruals. So let's look at some of the forms, which I know some people are concerned. Oh, I'm sorry about this. Remember, we're not in the beta yet, so we did the 941 form, Schedule B, and the regular 941, State Workers' Compensation Report, State Unemployment Report, Year-End Wages Report, the 940, 943, W-2s, W-3s. We will have electronic magnetic media or electronic format for W-2s. Some people have been asking whether we would have electronic uploads for the EFTPS, and that is not part of our first release, but it's something that we know that you guys have asked for. There's also, we will have the ability to create files that you can upload for state unemployment and workers' compensation, so that you can create a CSV file and then upload it onto the different websites depending on the state that you're working at. I think that's it. We have also allowed for the ability to create what I'm going to call manual checks, which is, for whatever reason, I had to write a check for an employee by hand, and now I need to record it. So I have the ability to adjust, to enter that check, or maybe enter adjustments of errors that were done, make changes to codes and runs that were done that need to be recorded. Thank you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach us. Acumatica support will be available, as well as if you are interested in becoming a beta tester, you can contact Jean Chia at Acumatica, at this email address. Thank you for your time today, and we look forward to launching Payroll and helping you get started.